Hello everyone, my name is Karina Vanderoff. I'm going to be your art instructor today. Today we're doing our little, one of our mini series. Oh, I already started here. I'm trying to get ahead of you guys. Today we're going to be doing African elephant. Now in your kit you're going to have hopefully a printout of what your finished piece will look like. You will have your paints. Now I put my paints on a palette here just to make it a little easier for you guys to see. We also have a canvas that's a 10 by 10 that's going to have a pre-drawn pencil sketch on there. And if you got the premium package, you're also going to get a couple of brushes to go with that. Now if you didn't, if you're providing your own brushes, that's fine. Just make sure to have either a small or a medium brush for this project. And you could actually do it with one brush if you have kind of like a medium brush that well, we could kind of help you out with that. But if not, our kit will come with 3 brushes. I've got my paper towel here. Of course, you've got yours at home. Feel free to just grab a plastic cup from your kitchen and add a little bit of water to it. We're going to need to wash our paint brushes off. And here we go. Now remember, these are acrylic paint, so be careful that you don't get any paint on your clothing. It will not wash off. Also, be aware of the table or the area that you're going to be painting on. This is actually a laminate countertop, so I just wipe that off. But don't sit there in your dining room and do this on your super nice dining table unless you're going to put some kind of plastic coating on top. Make sure you've got a lot of natural light. You don't want to be squinting there. I always recommend to leave your paints in the actual little cups that they come in, because if for some reason you need to stop, you can just put the lid back on those cups or those little containers and start back up again whenever you have a chance. That is the really cool thing about these minis, is that you can pick it up and keep going or stopping at any point. Remember, you're the boss here. Let's go ahead and begin. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my little brush, and I'm going to keep doing what I was doing earlier. I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the black, and remember, grab a lot of that black, and we're going to sit here and outline around our guy. Now I'm going to keep grabbing a lot of paint, and I'm not doing a very good job of outlining, but hey, there's a reason why. Because this is more just with getting you guys acclimated. You're going to see, hey, Karina, some of your lines are thick, some of them are thin. I'm just trying to kind of get a grasp, or I should say you're going to be trying to get a grasp on how much pressure to put on that paintbrush. You're going to notice that if you press hard, you're going to get a thick line. If you press lightly, just like this, you can get a thin line. Notice I'm kind of dragging my hand, the paintbrush here. So don't sit here, and I know a lot of you want to sit here and do this really slowly, but then it'll look choppy when you do that. So be really careful. And we're just going to keep on outlining. Now, one of my helpful hands, oh, and by the way, it doesn't matter if your line's a little fuzzy, that we're just putting down our framework. One of the things that I'm going to keep saying throughout this class is, let's try to work smarter. Let's paint smarter and not harder. So what I'm doing is, I'm left-handed, so I do everything backwards. Hey, I don't want to smear my paint right over here. So I'm going to turn that canvas around. So the trick here, guys, is making sure that your hand is always comfortable. And again, notice how often I'm going to grab some of that paint. Because if you don't have enough paint on there, your line's going to look a little fuzzy. I'm not going to lie about that. And you're going to say, well, Karina, you just told me my line really doesn't matter. It doesn't, but of course, you know, the neater it is, the less work you'll have to do on the back end. So I've got that little guy. This is his tail. This is Mama's tail. And I'm going to come in here. I know a lot of you want to sit there and just fill this in. Now is not the time. Refrain, refrain, control yourself, control yourself. We'll get to it. All right. And my brush is a little raggedy here. This is about the fourth or fifth painting I've done with this little brush. I'm wearing him thin. Awesome. Let's just make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. Now again, the cool thing about this is if you need to stop, you can stop. I'm also doing my tree here. Let's go ahead and put this way so that I don't confuse you guys. But I'm actually going to be using a hair dryer in just a minute to dry my painting. Now, if you don't have a hair dryer, just take a little 5-minute break, come back to it. This actually dries really quickly. So there we go. I'm gonna wash off my little brush, just like that, swish, swish. I'm gonna grab my paper towel and just squeeze that dry. And we're gonna take a little 5-minute break while I go dry. All right, so we went ahead and dried our painting. And again, if you want to just let that air dry on your own, or if you use a hair dryer, that's fine. We're going to start working on our next step. And if we refer to our instruction sheet, it's going to say to dip your big brush in the rust, and you're going to paint side to side about 3 fingers deep with that rust color. And we're talking about this color right in here. I don't know if you can see that. We're going to go actually pretty systematic from here to here, and then our light yellow. So again, make sure to grab a lot of that paint on both sides of your paintbrush. And guys, all we're going to do is long lines just like that. And again, nice, soft, light strokes. You don't need to sit there and go super heavy with the pressure, because again, that means you may need to just kind of pull back. You're not fighting with the paint. You are just lightly gliding it on. So again, let's grab a little bit more. And it says about 3 fingers deep, but you know, here's where you're the artist. You may decide, hey, Karina, I don't want that much of that darkness. I want it to be a little bit brighter. Yeah, you can definitely kind of tweak the colors to your own taste. Again, these are just recommendations that we're making. It is up to you to decide what you like and what you don't like. You are the art director here. You're the boss. Okay, so now I did not wash off my paintbrush, but I am going to dip it into my next color, which is that orange. And so lightly grab some of that paint. Again, be very generous. We're going to start right underneath our original rusty color, but then we're going to creep up a little bit into our previous color. So again, I decided I didn't want the full 3 fingers. I gave myself like maybe 2 or 2.5. And I'm left-handed, so I always start this way, but if you feel like, hey, I need to come this way, that's fine. But all you're doing again is you're gonna go right underneath there, and you're gonna say, holy moly, Karina, you just went over your tree. Yeah, we're gonna go over our tree. We're gonna go right over our little elephants. Don't worry about it. Again, we're painting smarter, not harder. You can still see your branches right underneath there. And look at how pretty now. I'm kind of creeping up into my previous color. Oh, and by the way, guys, again, this is optional. You can sit here and wrap around on the sides the color that you have on your brush. Of course, at any point you can come back and, you know, do your top or your bottom, but you can also do it while you're painting. So we've done our rust, we've done our orange, and I really do like that orange, so I'm going to give myself a little bit more of that orange. And again, nice, soft, long lines. Nice. All right, let's keep going. Now it talks about keeping that paintbrush dirty. Don't wash it off. All you're going to do is dip that paintbrush in your light cream, which is this one right here, the light yellow. Back and forth like that. Again, we're very generous with our paint. And what are we going to do? We're going to start right underneath here. And as soon as we start underneath here and we've got our groove going on, then we kind of creep up just a little bit into that previous color. So let's go for it. And again, we're going right over our elephants. And as soon as I do this, now I start creeping up, just like that. And look at how nice you've got a blend. Now remember, this is nature. You don't have to sit there and say, hey, I want yellow, orange, and rust. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but right in here, we've got a little bit of that orange that was still on my brush that's kind of popping in here. That's perfect, because that's going to show a little bit more flavor. I call that my extra credit. So let's keep grabbing more of that paint, the light yellow paint, and let's keep going all the way. And our instructions say this one that you should do about 3 fingers. So I'm going to give myself 4 fingers because I'm a rebel and I like to break rules. And again, you're going to notice, oh, you've got some really nice oranges popping through that yellow. And when I'm done and I'm happy, I'm going to sit here and let's wrap it around our edges because they need love too. Cool. Nice. I've actually seen some people who will come back and they'll add on purpose a little bit of that orange, and I say a little bit. They'll sit there and they'll do lines just like that to where, hey, they've got a little bit more something going on in there. So again, it's always nice to make it more of a tapestry. It's woven in there. What does that mean, Karina? That means you don't just have your rust, your orange, and your light cream. Your orange has got a little bit of that light cream. Maybe your light cream has got a little bit of that orange. So just have fun with it. We're also still not going to wash off that paintbrush. So if we have any of you OCDs out there, I know this is really tough, but don't do it. Let's keep going. So we're going to, oh, and by the way, have you noticed that my lines aren't perfect? Because again, I want it to feel a little bit more organic. So let's keep going. Now I'm going to go in reverse. Remember we did the rust, orange, the light cream. Now I'm going to do orange again and the rust. So let's go for it. Let's grab a little bit of that orange. And I'm going to come back in here just like that. Remember, we always go right underneath the previous color, but as soon as we do that, we kind of creep up a little bit. Yeah, let's overlap just a little bit. And I'm going to do my edges. My edges. They just look so much nicer, guys, when you do your edges, because when you hang that up on the wall, it feels a little bit more finished, a little more professional. Okay, so I have pulled my orange almost all the way down to where his little feet are. Let's go ahead and add that rust now. And the reason why I did it kind of systematically is I want that rust to be almost like the ground for him. So that's going to kind of anchor him, and it's going to make it feel a little bit more realistic. So right around here, I'm going to go a little bit darker. And this color, you may want to go ahead and just kind of lay it on a little bit thicker so you can see, hey, this does feel a little bit more anchored down at the bottom. That way your elephants aren't kind of floating. And notice, I'm actually starting to lay my paintbrush a little bit flatter, because if you do it and you just straight like this and perpendicular, watch this. I just scraped all of that off. So again, nice and flat and soft. And you're going to lay that paint on gently. And I'm just going to do my edges here and here. Again, make sure the surface that you're painting on, that you're okay with getting a little bit of paint on here. I've already gotten a little bit of orange down in here, and I'm all right with it. It does wipe off with soap and water, but again, please, 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 we don't want to hear any crying on this one. If it's something precious to you, go ahead and protect that surface. So, we've got that done right in there. Let's wash off our paintbrush. And so we're just going to jab that paintbrush in there. And again, you should be using your larger brush for this. And we're going to grab our paper towel and we're going to squeeze that excess water off. Okay. We are going to go back now to our instruction sheet, and let me go ahead and just show you where we're at here on our example. We've already done all of our blending. We're going to start working, I believe, on our elephants, and so with your small brush, you're going to dip it back in your black. And on this step, actually, if this is dry, great. If it is not, that's okay too, because black pretty much cancels out any color. So we're gonna outline our elephants again, and this time you get to fill it in. So let's go for it. And remember, you had that practice the first time where you sat there and you kind of played with, hey, how much pressure do I put on here? Is my line going to be thick or thin? Looking nice. Guys, remember to keep grabbing more paint. This is where people kind of go a little chintzy. You don't want to do that. Keep grabbing a lot of paint. Everything is just so much easier when that paintbrush just glides on there. Let the paint do the work for you. And again, thanks guys for joining us today. We are getting as many of our ideas online as possible. You got to keep me busy, so keep ordering. We, again, are a small business. We're family owned, and we appreciate this. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to outline in fragments all my little areas that I know I definitely need this small brush for. I've seen some people who will use the big brush for all of this. It depends on how impatient you are. There's no right or wrong in art. Again, the only wrong thing to do in art today is to drink that paint water, and you don't want to do that. All right, and we'll just keep going here. Now here's where you kind of zone out. If you've got your music, let's go for it. Turn that bad boy up. You know you've got that awesome playlist. Maybe once you get a collection of these, you feel like, hey, you know, I'm ready to kind of graduate into another craft. We're also going to have pottery that you can paint on, that you can purchase. Those will be kits as well. Along with, I know I shouldn't really be showing you this, but this is actually our copper project that we're going to be doing. It's a beautiful feather that is mounted on a piece of wood, and this is actually super easy. You can kind of see it's kind of mounted on there. You're able to do this at home too, because I believe in you. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. We're a little dangerous like that, guys. We like to keep on crafting. Now, I want to show you something that just happened right here. This is going to happen to you too. I don't want you to worry about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to erase those boo-boos. So this is nice and wet. That black that I just put on there, by the way, my background is dry by now. I'm going to grab my biggest brush, I'm going to put some water on that brush, so I have not squeezed it dry. I'm going to hold this paper towel right here, and we're just going to literally wash our canvas off. Wash that canvas off. So we've got that taken care of. If by some chance it did lift up a little bit of your orange or your background, hey guys, that's not a problem at all. You've still got a lot of that paint. You just sit here and voila. Easy breezy. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Again, I always say there's always a way to fix it. Turning that canvas around so that my hand is a little bit more comfortable. I don't want to smear anything. We're always open for questions. If you decide, hey, I just am stumped on this, what do I do? You can reach out to us via email. If it's during business hours, by all means, of course, give us a call. If you decide, hey, I am that person that that actually ran out of black, or I need a little extra something, reach out to us. So we're outlining and filling in. And just get into that habit of going back and dipping into that black. Now let me show you something else. Let's just say for some odd reason you hiccuped while you did, you know, his back, and there's a big bump in there. You got to start thinking like an artist. You decide, hey, maybe his back is a little bit wider. So you make those decisions while you do this. Again, no one needs to know about that little boo-boo. Very nice. And I'm going to turn him around. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to turn her around. How about that? And right in here, let's go ahead and do the little tail. And let's not forget our little baby's tail as well. And at this point, I'm not going to sit there and use the small brush for this area. Again, we paint smarter, not harder. So I'm switching over to my big brush. And we're going to go ahead and fill this in. If you need to do a second coat of that black because maybe it still feels a little washy, that is perfectly fine. But I'm just going to go ahead and leave my guys just like this for now. And we're going to wash off all of our dirty brushes. Okay, so we're nearing the end. And we're going to start going to our next step, which is with our small brush. We are going to dip it in our dark brown, and we're going to redraw that tree that's over on the right side. And if you want to add some extra branches, you can. But we're just going to come in here and we're going to redraw it. Now, when I'm redrawing this tree, I'm actually making the branches a little thicker. And check this out. Oh, I'm adding more branches. And so again, put your hand down on that canvas. Now, don't sit here and get too crazy with adding too many branches. Just to be quite honest, what's going to end up happening is you're probably going to cover up a lot of these branches anyway with your leaves. So don't get too involved in it. And again, this is the dark brown. I know it looks almost black on camera, but this is the dark brown. Okay, and we're going to wash that paintbrush off. And let's go ahead and dry that. All right, next step, we're going to do our leaves. So with our, let's see where we're at, our dab brush, or if you need to use your big brush that maybe you didn't use, get the extended kit that's got the extras, you can actually use a big brush for this, and you're just going to be popping on here your dark brown. But I've actually got the dab brush, so with my dark brown, I'm going to sit here and remember, grab a lot of that paint, and we're just going to lightly pop, pop, pop. I'm going to overlap just a little bit onto my branches, nice and light. Oh, let's grab some more paint. I'm trying not to be stingy. Hey, please don't make this a solid right in here, because just like any tree, if you were to look outside, you can kind of see the sky going through the trees. So make sure to kind of leave those gaps in there. But if you notice, you know, I always kind of make it to a little point right in here. Again, I don't want to see solids. As soon as you're done with that, don't wash off that paintbrush. Let's go ahead and add any of the colors that we might have left over. Hey, I've got some of this rust color, pop, pop, pop. So I'm just lightly popping around. I get a little crazy with it. Hey, maybe I want some of that light yellow. And again, don't work it too much. I'm barely, it's just so light in my hand. This is probably gonna fall out. You're just gonna lightly tap, tap, tap. Cool. And we're gonna wash off our paintbrush. Now, one thing you will notice on our actual example, and I'm not sure if they go over this on the instructions, is there's actually a little bit more shadow down here. So with my small brush, I'm going to grab a little bit of my dark brown, and I'm just going to lightly add a few wispy lines right in here, just like that, underneath my elephant and the baby elephant, just like that. And I just kind of pull it out a little bit, and now it looks like, hey, that's his shadow. And you are going to wash off your paintbrush, and with that same little brush, I'm going to twist my brush so that I get a nice fine point. Because if you just go like this, you can kind of see that that is a pretty icky point. We're going to be working on our birds right now. So twist, twist, twist. You want a nice fine line. I am going to recommend that you have your eraser brush on standby in case you don't like your birds. So when you're doing birds, you're just going to lightly touch, straight line, dip a little bit, and then come back up. What I don't want to see you doing, and I'll use the back side of my canvas, you do not want to do this. This is the letter M. This is a snake. So you're going to have to go somewhere in between there and make them relatively small. These are not pterodactyls or bats. So nice and gentle. If for some reason, again, your little pooch came in and messed you up and you're like, oh my gosh, Karina, I've come so far and I've ruined this. Do not try to paint over black. It's just not going to work. What you have to do is you have to have your reserve paintbrush with water in it, have your paper towel, and just control where that water is going. So let's brush on that a little bit, just like this, and then wipe it away. Wipe it away. And again, if any of that excess, if any of that orange pulls up, any of that background, well, you've got all the colors right there. You can definitely make it work. You can just kind of come back in here and blend it in a little bit. I'm going for extra credit because it's just in my nature. I'm going to come in here and do a few little pieces of grass right in there. Ooh, right in there. And guys, we are done today. So thanks again for joining us. My name is Karina. Hope to see you guys again.